All right, let's get started. So my name is Rachel Dawson, and I'm the Graduate Awards Manager here at Simon Fraser. And we're here to talk about the Canada Graduate Scholarships Master's Program that are offered from the TriCouncils. So NSERC, CHR, NSERC, and SSHRC offer these awards. And now you know me, you'll start to see me everywhere, and you'll run into me. So you might see me walking on the way to a meeting on campus, and when you see me and you have an award question, walk with me and you can ask me an award question. All right, you might see me at the bus loop. It's not the first time somebody's asked me a question on the bus. So when you see me at the bus loop, what can you do if you have an awards question? You can ask me a question. Sometimes you'll see me at the gym. I'll be working out to Jillian Michaels. So when you see me at the gym working out to Jillian Michaels, what can you do? No, don't ask me a question. No, you might get punched. No, I'm kidding. All right. So for those of you that don't know, I'm from the Office of Graduate Studies. How many people here know the Office of Graduate Studies and have been on our website? That's not enough hands. All right. So we do a lot at Graduate Studies. We oversee graduate program admissions, program records, so transcripts, leave of absence, those kind of things for our office. Scholarships and awards, that's me, including GA3. How many people have been on our graduate award adjudication system, GA3? Yeah. And we also do thesis defense committees. We have somebody in our office who organizes all of that jazz. Additionally, we have a center called CAPE, and CAPE is an amazing group of people. Gladys Wee is one of the people that work at CAPE. And we have programs there for international students, for postdoctoral fellows, Indigenous students. And there's also the APEX program, Professional Development Program. If you're not sure what APEX is, definitely look it up. It's a great professional development program. And here's our website. So scholarships and awards up there on the left, there's some valuable information there. Another valuable thing on here is the blog. If you register for our blog, subscribe to our blog, that's the right word. If you subscribe to our blog, you'll actually get updates when award funding becomes available. So award funding outside of SFU that you can apply for, we list it on our blog. Alrighty, on the website right now too, there should be a copy of the presentation coming up under scholarships and awards, major external funding opportunities. There should be a copy of this presentation as well. All right, so let's talk about the award opportunity you're all interested in. So CHR, NSERC, and SSHRC, we all know these are the TriCouncils is what we refer to them as. This award is valued at $17,500 for 12 months. And the application deadline is December 1st using the online system. So we recommend you work ahead of time and submit early because every year the system is a little glitchy. Every year there's some problems. So try to work ahead of time. So what happened last year? I'm not putting this here to scare you at all. So last year the university received 318 applications, and you'll see 68 of those were taken out. They were deemed ineligible or not legible. I'm going to talk about that throughout my presentation, what I mean by that. So we offered 79 awards. And we have a quota of 79, so 10 CHRs, 21 NSERCs, and 48 SSHRCs. So when we offer the awards, as students decline, maybe they're not coming to SFU, maybe they have other funding, as they decline, we keep offering. So we get to offer 79 awards. Any questions about this? All right. Okay, so subject matter eligibility. This is a big one. So last year, 9 applications were ruled ineligible because they applied to the wrong TriCouncil. So the TriCouncils are very specific about this. They're very particular. So if your application is if you're in psychology and your application is related to health, you'll need to check to see if you're going to be applying for CHR or for SSHRC funding. So be very careful with your subject matter eligibility. There is a website too. It's called, right there, science.gc.ca, and it says applying to the correct federal granting agency. I think they have a topic there that you can choose, and you can just confirm which one you're applying for. So make sure you choose that area properly, or the right area, because we can't transfer your application if you do apply to the wrong one. So we all know that this is one application form we're doing, right? Yeah, so it's one application form on the research portal. And I have it up too. I can show you what it looks like. Hi. So inside that application, you need to choose if you're natural sciences, health science, or SSHRC. All right, so main eligibility points. So be a citizen or permanent resident of Canada. Last year, 10 students were taken out because they were not eligible. They were not permanent residents or they did not have Canadian citizenship. have not already received a scholarship or fellowship from SSHRC, NSERC, CHR to undertake a master's degree, that's fine. So last year, having 0 to 12 months in a master's doctoral transfer program for which you're requesting funding, you need to count this as of December 31st. So make sure you are underneath that 12 months. Last year, 6 students were ineligible because of this. They applied and they were over the 12 months of funding. 2 of them were in math. No laughs? Oh, pretty serious, you guys. All right, and have received a first-class average, an A- or a 3.67 in each of the last 2 completed years of study. So last year, 32 applicants were taken out because they did not meet the GPA requirements. Are we curious to know how we calculate? Is this what we're going to ask? Oh, I have a really cool slide to show you. This is what we do. We take your transcript. Can you see it okay? That's a transcript. And we circle 24 to 30 credits from your last year, and then we work out what the GPA is. And then we go back for a second last period, and we isolate 24 to 30 credits, and we work out what the GPA is. Now, this is ideal. This is an SFU transcript. It worked out nicely. That's why I chose it. There are a lot of transcripts that are not ideal. You have transfer credits, half a degree here, half a degree somewhere else, and we just work it out as best we can, given what the TriCouncils have told us how to work it out. So here, this second last period, that actually came to 3.65. We round up. We're nice. We round up if you're close. Are there any questions about this? Okay. Yeah, you bet. I welcome questions as we go. You don't have it 24 to 30 in 1 year? Yeah, that happens. So what we do is we kind of go back at what you did, and if it doesn't work out, let's say you've only been here for 12 credits. We look at that 12 credits. We can't combine degrees or combine terms. We have to do kind of nice blocks around. So we'll just take it as it is, right? So if you've been here for 12 credits, we look at that 12 credits, and then we go back at what you've done before that. Yeah. Yes? Yeah, that's right. But you have to include your SFU transcript to show you're registered when you apply. Yeah, and I'll get to that as well. But yeah, so where did you go to undergrad? McMaster. Okay, so what we do is we take the McMaster transcript. They're a 4.0 GPA, right? McMaster? Oh, are they really? So with different universities have different grading scales. We convert it to a 4.33. So there's 2 people in our office that do this, and then we check each other's work, so we make sure we're very consistent. Yep.
If I did just 1 course in the summer, that would count as 1 semester, and then go back 2 semesters after that?
Was that course done at a different university? Yeah. Okay. Then we might isolate that as its own, and then we go back a little bit more. It just depends. How did you do? Okay. All right. So in this instance, now are you a science major or are you different?
No, I'm not.
Sorry to put you on the spot, by the way.
No, that's okay. I'm liberal arts, and then I did my 2 most recent semesters. I did at Quantland, but
Okay.
my undergrad at Dalhousie.
Okay.
So I had 2 semesters from Quantland, and then I had this 1 summer course, and then I had.
Okay. So we would probably do Quantland as your last period, and then your undergrad is at Dalhousie as your second last. And just look at that French course and maybe take it out. Sometimes we have like science students that do 1 language course and don't do so well. We tend to take that out if we can. Yeah. Any other questions? Yes?
Yeah, sorry.
Hi, welcome. There's lots of seats right in the front, latecomers. And you know I'm going to pick on you, right? Hi, welcome. Yes, okay. Mm-hmm.
You just count the summer back 2 more semesters?
Where were you the 2 semesters before? You were here, but you started your grad? Okay. How many credits did you take in summer? Just 3? Okay. So in that case, we would probably isolate that as your graduate work and then go your last period back. So you'd have less credits. So here, the first red circle, the last period, would be just your summer. And then we go second back. It sounds like it, yeah. Yeah, then I'm going back a term, actually, right? I'm considering your term as your last year because we can't combine your grad and undergrad. Yeah. Yeah, it gets messy. That's why we have somebody else double check our work all the time. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. So you don't have to convert it, right? You don't, but we do. We do. Yeah, we have a calculator that we use that actually goes and converts everything over to SFU grades. Yeah. Yeah. If you're worried, if you're kind of borderline, definitely go to your program assistant in the department you're applying and just ask, because a lot of them can work it out for you. If they can't, you can always send a scan of your transcripts to DGS Award, and we can work it out for you. Yeah. Okay. Let me just make sure I've hit all the points I was going to on here. All right. So yeah, so yippee, we're all eligible, yeah, except our latecomers because they missed the beginning. All right, so where do you start now? So this is the master's program website, the CGSM website. Definitely bookmark this. This is where you want to go to get a lot of information. So you'll see here it says how to apply the Canadian Common CV. The Canadian Common CV is a big part of this award application. So you need to log on and create a CCV account. And also the research portal. So the application form is inside the research portal. So there's two different systems you'll be on when you apply for this funding opportunity. Okay. Another important thing I want to point out about this page is if you scroll down, there's this little red text here, instructions for completing an application. This is kind of embedded in there. You have to look for it, but once you find it, definitely print it off if that's what you do, or bookmark it, because this information has a lot of valuable stuff on there, a lot of valuable. They actually go through and they give you the presentation standards. They go through and they give you the instructions for uploading transcript. They give you instructions on the CCV and also on how to approach references and who your references should be. So a lot of questions our office gets, and it takes us a couple days to answer because we're really busy, they're actually answered here already in the instructions. So make sure you check there if you have questions first, and then contact our office. All right. So the application components, as I mentioned, the research portal, that's where the application form is. So you need to go on and, hi, welcome. That's okay. So when you log on to these systems, I encourage you to use a professional email address. You all have an SFU email address. You're young professionals now, right? You're going to grad school. Sometimes we get applications and the email addresses are atrocious. It's like, we got one, it was like big breasts at Yahoo. Don't do it. It's not going to get you funding. It's going to be to your detriment. Be professional. Also, when you log onto these systems, one of the systems doesn't like hyphenated names. So if you have a hyphenated name, just combine your name, because at the end you need to link your CCV to your research portal. So to use the same logon, same email address for both systems. You need to be aware of your deadlines. So your deadline to apply online is December 1st. But if you're applying to more than one university for admission, you have to be aware of their admission deadlines. So some universities, is everybody here applying through SFU? Yeah. How many people are applying for different universities? You're too shy. Great. So the students who are applying for different universities, or all of you, you can go in and you can actually select up to 5 different universities to hold your award at. And when you do that, that gives those 5 universities permission to see your application form and to rank it and adjudicate it, and to maybe offer you an award. So you have to be aware of all of their admission deadlines. All right, you also need to create an outline of proposed research. That's 1 page plus 1 page for bibliography and citations, and I'm going to talk a little bit more about that. There are a lot of questions on how to write that, so yeah. Mm-hmm. No, that will matter. It shouldn't matter. It shouldn't matter. You can go in and you can change your information. Yeah. No, it shouldn't. But do you still have access to that email account? Okay, good. Yeah, that's fine. You need to order official transcripts. Students tend to leave this to last minute. I don't know why. Order them as soon as you can, official transcripts. Yes. One. Yeah. And approach and send out your invite for your references. And I have another slide all about references. Yes?
Is that a photocopy of your official transcripts or the actual?
You should scan your original transcripts. Yeah. Yeah. So the CCV, give yourself plenty of time to complete this common CV. How many people have started their CCV? Yeah, it's pretty messy, right? It takes a lot of time. They're going for consistency, but because they're going for consistency, there's a lot of like drop downs and then drop downs within drop downs, and it takes time. So make sure you order a Starbucks and sit there and sit and do it in one go. It'll take time. So don't complete the entire generic CCV either, and I can show you after because I've logged on. You have to select CV for funding, and then the CGS Masters as the funding CV. So you're doing the right one. Yeah?
In general, you know, like there's tons of spaces to put all sorts of information that might seem relevant to your proposal. Is it like the one?
So don't duplicate information, right? So some people do this. They actually put, there's research, there's work experience, academic work experience, and then there's other work experience. Don't duplicate things, right? It looks really bad. Just looks like you're trying to fill space. I've seen awards get funded that only have 2 or 3 pages of the CCV actually completed. Yeah, because you're at the master's level. A lot of you might be an undergrad level. So you're not going to have things in every single spot, right? Yeah, so as long as when you hit the preview, it looks nice and you haven't repeated things and you're not making spelling mistakes and have things in the right category, then you'll be fine. Did that answer your question? Okay. I tend to ramble sometimes. Yeah. Yes. Yes, so it's an online system. So let's say you choose us, UBC, I don't know, University of Alberta, McGill. And so when you do that, it kind of opens your application up to us so we can see it and we can rank it, but we don't know what other universities you've chosen. We actually don't see it, we're blind to that. Yeah, yes? Yes. Yeah, you need to. Yes, you need it to show that you're registered. Yeah. It's not my decision, it's the TriCouncil's. Just want to make sure I've hit all my points I was going to talk about here. Okay, this university admission deadlines. So last year, 6 applicants applied for the award and missed the admission deadlines at the university, so they were taken out of the competition. Please don't do that. I cry when students come to my office. I don't really cry. Okay, outline of proposed research. So a lot of people that RSVP'd had questions about how to tackle this. So it's a one-pager. They give you the instructions on presentation standards. They also give you instructions on what to include in your proposal or your proposed research. How I would tackle this and what I would do and how I used to write grant proposals was I would just copy the instructions they give you, paste it into a Word doc, take out the words that you don't need, and then keep the ones that are the most important. So this is the instructions they give you. Provide background information. I would use that as a header, and I would do background information. State the objectives, the hypothesis, and I would definitely use that to start filling in all these spots that you need, all these things you need. The methods and procedures used, the significance of the proposed research. Yeah? Okay. Where most applications, and I have more on this as well, where most applications fall down is actually the methods and procedures. So if it's kind of a gap for you, definitely talk to your supervisor, talk to a peer in your lab. Maybe there's a PhD student or a postdoc in your lab you can talk to help you fill in the blanks a little bit. And then you have a page for bibliography and citations. So you need to write these in the style of your discipline. So the difference between bibliography and citations, and I've actually seen students separate these out in this page. Bibliography is more works consulted, and citations are works cited. And I've actually seen students use those headers too to help separate them out, which is fair, you can do that. Okay, so writing a strong research proposal. I'm gonna go back here, sorry. I meant to say one more thing. Do you notice certain words are in bold here? Yeah, the reviewers notice too. So if you write this Your proposal, if you bold or underline the relevant words, it makes it very easy for the reviewers to see what they're looking for. So if they get this page and it's all just text and they can't find your thesis, they can't find your hypothesis, it doesn't stand out for them. Make it easy for the reviewers. Keep in mind our reviewers are looking at 300 applications, right? So make it easy for them to find what they're looking for. Okay. So write with enthusiasm because we're excited to do this project. Yeah? Okay. Also, why is the research necessary? This could be in your background information. I've seen some very nice transition where there's background information and then why is this research important? Here's why. Avoid jargon, undefined acronyms. This tends to be really bad. I know in your discipline, everybody kind of knows what, I don't know, ASC is. I don't. The reviewers might not, right? These committees that look at your application might not have the exact knowledge that you do, right? Or that your discipline does. They're multidisciplinary committees, so you need to help them understand. You need to write it very clearly. How will you measure success? Be realistic and focused. Avoid overly ambitious or premature projects. So general versus clarity. So this is all kind of a balancing act for you, right? And it will take a few revisions and probably a few different eyes to read your proposal to understand. So you need to write it general enough that a lay audience is going to understand it and clear enough. The tentative versus confidence. I actually see a lot of applications with phrases like, we hope to, I might find, this might be useful. No, this will be useful. I'm going to find, we will discover. Okay, you need to be very clear, very confident in your writing. And ambitious versus realism. I've sat in committee, when the committee gets together to talk about applications, and very often I hear them say, oh, this is a PhD project, but they're applying for master's funding, which is fine if you're in a master's PhD transfer program, or if you've gone from a bachelor straight into a doctoral program, that's fine. But most of them are master's work, master's research projects, so you have to be realistic of what you're gonna do in the 2 years you're doing a master's, or less for some of you. So my next slide is about transcripts. So are there any questions about research proposals? Yes?
So if you've done this work already, where does that go somewhere?
Yeah, definitely. Definitely work that into your proposal. Yeah, that this is what you've done so far. I've seen proposals with really nice timelines. They're like, this is the research been done so far. I've done the courses required to complete this research, and they'll see that on your transcript. Right, and now I'm working on this. In the next 6 months, I'm planning on doing this. Are there any other questions? Yeah? You can definitely include. I've seen for chemistry especially. Are you in chemistry? No, okay. Sorry? Oh, yeah, so I've seen some really good diagrams. You just have to keep in mind your proposal, you only have 1 page for your proposal, right? So if you're including a diagram, you really have to make sure you're using your space well, yeah. Or say just only use a picture if it explains, I can't say it. If it's better to explain, then that space would have been using words, right? Yeah, because valuable space. All right, so scanning official transcripts. So your transcripts must conform to the presentation standards. They outline them. I outline them here. If there's one slide that's important, here it is. These must be scanned as a single document, so you're uploading them as one single scanned PDF. The text should be oriented upright, must be readable on a computer, and 1 copy of the legend should be there. Now here's the most valuable tip you're going to get today. Are you ready for it? Woohoo! Staples, if you take these instructions to Staples, they will actually scan your transcript for you for about $3. Your program assistant might also do it, right? Keep in mind your program assistant's pretty busy, but they're also a really good resource for transcripts. Yeah. And they'll email it to you, but definitely take a USB just in case too. Good? All right. Yes, yeah. Yeah, you only have 1 spot in the application form to upload as 1 single PDF. Yeah, there's only 1 upload button. Yeah. All right, who am I gonna pick on? Ha, fellow in the hoodie. What do you think is going to happen if you upload this? Yeah, this is going to get rejected. Yeah. You know why? Because I can't do my job. I can't figure out what your GPA requirement is here, right? So you kind of fail the GPA requirement. Now, this is really unfortunate. I have to eliminate this application. So does all the universities you've chosen. So if you've worked on this application and you've uploaded this as your transcript, it's not going to fly. You're actually going to be deemed ineligible, which is really sad, right? Actually, you're deemed not legible. Same thing, ineligible. Yeah, so don't do this. If you need help with your transcripts, ask. Our office can help you, program assistants can help. Don't take a picture of your transcripts and upload that either. It doesn't fly. All right, so students who do this, there was one student we asked last year, like, what happened? And she was really upset, and she said, well, I thought my proposal was so glowing, the transcripts didn't matter. Yeah, academic excellence is worth 50% of your score. 50%. So don't make this mistake, okay? Promise? Everybody promises, right? Yeah. Okay. All right, references. So inside the application form on the research portal, you have this little button, Manage Invitations. I missed this the first time I went through there to fill out a fake application. So you need to invite 2 references. Do not use a future or proposed supervisor unless that person is supervising you now or has in the past. You need to provide your referee with enough time to write and submit their letters. You need to talk to your reference beforehand and let them know you're going to invite them on the system. We suggest providing them with an outline of your criteria and specific examples of what you've done. So it doesn't hurt to give them a copy of your CV. It doesn't hurt to give you a copy of your CV with certain things highlighted that you might want them to mention. They have to answer this question. I have known the applicant for blank years in my capacity as. So it's a good idea when you talk to them, hey, remember me? You remember, you've known me for about 3 years as a student, as a blah, 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 right? Especially if it's somebody you haven't talked to in a few years. So I show you their form. I don't know if you can see that. This is their assessment form that they fill out. So they have to fill out a section on academic excellence, which is worth 50% of your score. So make sure you give them examples of academic excellence. Maybe you're an A student. Maybe you've gotten certain awards based on academic merit. You might want to ask your referee to mention this in the letter. It's also based, it's not just your GPA here or prizes. It can also be the duration of studies, the courses you've taken, the course load, your relative standing. All these are part of it. So that's a big part of your score. The next section is research potential, and that's worth 30%. So 30% is pretty high. So I have there provide examples of interest in discovery, of quality, originality of the contributions to research and development, relevant work experience, significance of your research, critical thinking skills, knowledge, application initiative, independence, and your research experience. And then they have personal characteristics and interpersonal skills, which is worth 20%, but still says quite a bit about you. This is where they can talk about you as a young researcher. So this is a good place for them to provide examples of your work experience, leadership experience, project management, your volunteer work, if you've organized conferences, meetings, your ability to communicate clearly and logically, your involvement in academic life, community outreach, those type of things. Any questions? Yes? What I would do, this is what your referee fills out. What I would do is I would provide them examples of this. Yeah, for there, yeah. Yeah, so maybe you're providing them with a copy of your resume with everything, your CCV with everything filled out, and just highlight or just say, you're applying for this funding opportunity. Academic excellence is worth 50% of my score, and research potential is worth 30%. So here are some examples of things I've done that you can or might not use, but at least you're giving them the option, right? Yes. No, they're filling out just this form. Just this form, yeah. So I've kind of crunched the space there, but they have to do like a Likert scale there, a rating of where you stand, and then they have a box that's 2,000 characters to fill out. 2,000 characters, quite a bit. It's really nice to see some concrete examples in there too, because that kind of gives the feeling that they really know you and they've worked with you. Yes? I'm sorry? How long do they have to know you? I'd say that that's not that relevant. I think the most important thing is to pick referees who can speak to these things about you, who can speak to your research contributions, your research potential, who can speak to your academic excellence. They should be somebody in academia. They need to be somebody in academia, I should say. Sorry, Scarf Girl first, yes? No, so you can't submit your, thank you for asking. You can't submit your application until they've submitted their reference. Yeah, so give them a deadline a few days ahead of you, right? You can go into your application, the manage invitations, and you can actually see if they've submitted or not. So if they haven't submitted 2 or 3 days before your deadline, follow up with them. Yes?
Any suggestions to guide references do not indicate particular examples?
Sure, just give your references different things, right? You also know them in different contexts, right? So give them examples of the context in which they know you. Good? Okay, yes?
What if they're no longer in academia, but they were like your university?
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. Because they knew you in academia, right? Yeah. Yeah. Yes? Sorry? Your current supervisor, yes, if you've started already with them, yeah. You just can't use a proposed supervisor because they won't know you yet, right? Yeah. And a lot of people are kind of worried about, oh, my supervisor doesn't know me. I've only known them for a couple of months. There's a reason they picked you, right? They had your admission application in their hands. There was something there that sparked their interest in you, right? So keep that in mind. Okay. All right, so how is your application adjudicated? So this is an important slide because this gives you the examples of what we tell the committee to look at. So we tell them, rank these applications 50% on academic excellence based on all this jazz. Research potential. So academic excellence, they tend to go straight to the transcripts and to the letters to look at that. Research potential, they tend to do the letters and your work experience or any volunteer work you've done, any kind of research-related things you've done. And personal characteristics and interpersonal skills. There's a lot to be said about an application that's written well. So if you write an application that has a whole bunch of errors in it, spelling mistakes, you've gotten your referee's name spelled wrong, I've seen it, that says a lot about you. So make sure you're coming across a very young professional, that you know what you're doing, you're confident in this writing. Okay. All right, so what happens to your application? So all the institutions you selected in your application will have access. So there's one person at SFU that has access, that's me, I'm the lucky one. So what I do is I go in and I pull all your applications off the research portal in a PDF, in an entire PDF format, and I check your transcripts. Transcript's not there, transcript's not eligible, boom, you're out. And then we check for eligibility in other places of your application. We create a big fancy spreadsheet. We add those GPA calculations to it, and we send your applications to your Department of Enrollment here at SFU. The departments rank, they get a committee together, they rank the applications, and they send those rankings to us, and then we get a scholarship committee that's university-wide to come and look at the applications. So your application, if it passes through the department, will then be looked at in a committee of similar applications, similar departments to yours. So this university-wide committee looks at these applications and then they rank them. And then we send a final list to the agencies and they look at them and they approve them, basically. But they also check them for eligibility and they approve them. And then we enter the results on the research portal on April 1st. Very unfortunate day, right? It's April Fool's Day. I don't know why they picked that day. So if you get a notice saying you've gotten an award, it's not a joke. You may have gotten a joke. So our office would never do that. So last year we had students that were all happy. They went on there and they had 3 or 4 offers from different schools, and they clicked the first offer to accept it, which automatically declines your other offers. So make sure when you're on there, if you have more than one offer, you really think about which school it is you want to attend and want to hold the award at. Because you can't transfer the award. If you choose one university, you can't transfer the award to another university. Okay? If you're unsure, click SFU. Yes? Mm-hmm. That's correct, yeah. That's correct, yeah. Yeah, and it happened last year because one of the university, I think it was McGill, had a higher criteria for GPA. So we had said like a 3.67 is an A- here, but they're like, no, we're going to set the bar a little higher. I don't think they approved anything above or below a 3.70 or something like that. Like, yeah. Yeah. So ours is an A- average, but some schools actually do an A+. Mm-hmm. So it is kind of odd because one school might deem you ineligible and another school might offer you an award. And it's just because we have different criteria that we're going with, right? Yeah. Any other questions? Okay. I'm going to let you in on a little secret just because you came today and I'm excited when people come to my presentations. How many people have been on GA3, the Grad Awards Application Adjudication System? Yeah, so on GA3, we're actually going to add your award record on there. So if you're deemed ineligible, we'll actually put it on there as ineligible. So you will know ahead of time if you're ineligible. Not that anybody in this room is going to be ineligible, right? So you would know kind of mid-January on GA3 if you've been taken out of the competition. So that's one thing to know. If your application is not recommended at the department level, we're thinking of adding those to GA3 as well. So that's a decision that you'd probably see there kind of mid-February. Okay? So you'll know if you're taken, you'll know if you're still in the running because you won't see that status, right? Yeah. Okay. Yay, we're all getting awards. I know, it sucks waiting. We hate waiting too, right? Because I know the TriCouncils tend to take their time approving things, but April 1st is kind of the deadline they've given us. In the olden days, they used to like take their time, mail letters, nobody would hear, students would move, it was really messy. Now it's really nice because you have an online adjudication system, or online system you can go to. Okay, so there's a couple of things we can do now. There's some questions that came in that I can run through from the RSVPs. A lot of the questions were filling out the application form, how to proceed, all this kind of thing. So I've actually have the application form that I've logged onto, and I can show you that in a minute. How to find a program that suits you. How to compare and contrast schools. Yeah, that's a tough one. A lot of students just get a piece of paper and positive minuses which school you want to go to, right? If you're thinking of going to a graduate school somewhere else, definitely talk to the graduate studies office there, get a good idea of the timeline for awards. A lot of graduate studies office accept award applications ahead of time. If you're looking at a couple of different graduate schools, tell the graduate program that you're kind of thinking of another school, see what they say. Some graduate programs and some programs here actually have a little bonus money that they can give you to try to get you to come to their graduate program. Yeah, so just let them know, well, I'm not sure which school I'm going to go to, and they maybe offer you a little incentive. I would like to know more regarding eligibility and ability to work while holding the award. So if you're offered an award, any kind of award from the TriCouncils, there is an award holder's guide, and you have to adhere to what's in the award holder's guide. So the person that asked this is applying for SSHRC, I think, if I can read my own handwriting. The award holder's guide for SSHRC, for CGSM, you're bound to working 450 hours in a 12-month period while holding the award. So if you have a job or you're also doing research assistantship, you have to watch your hours. Yeah, does that answer the question for everybody? No? 12-month period, yeah. So what some students do if they're working is they just kind of change their hours while they hold the award, right? Yeah. Turn to the research portal. Okay, so I think I showed you most of these screens already. This is our website. There's a TriCouncil Masters here, and this is where you find information on doctoral funding in a couple years when you get there. And then here's some information about it. And they haven't added it yet, but Gladys is going to add a copy of this presentation there. So here's a CGSM website. Now I know it says NSERC at the top, but this is for CHR, SSHRC, and NSERC. It's all in one. It's just that NSERC won when it came to whose online system they were going to use. So there's the research portal, and there's a link to the CCV. I'm not sure why I have that up. Let's see. Oh, it kicked me out of everything. Now you're going to see me do something I told you not to do. Right? I know, hockey player. Let's see if that was my logon. Yeah, all right, so we're going to CV, we're going to funding. And this will take a few minutes to load. And I'm not showing you this to scare you. It might scare people who have not logged on yet, but I do want you to see it because there are a lot of different parts of this application form. So we're going to the CGS Masters. And I'm not sure why we have to do it again, but we do. Yeah, we know incomplete. So it's all these little things that you have to click on and add information to. So there's a lot of little drill down things you need to do and a lot of little drop downs inside there too. So give yourself time. And then the application form. Oh no. And we always remember our password, yeah? There we go. Oop, not my institution. Here we go. So I have a lot of different applications created just over the years here. So we click on to open it and we can go inside and I can show you the application form and ask questions as we go if you see something you're curious about. So it has all your status at the top there. Now, yeah, it's not the best looking application, much better than ResearchNet if any of you have been on ResearchNet. But you can see you go in, identification, activity, summary of proposal, and then you can go in there and upload your transcripts and your outline of proposed research. And you have to link your common CV here. And then here's where you provide your referees. So if I click Manage Invitations, it actually lets me send the invitations. Now we looked at last year's applications, and the ones that were higher ranked had their strongest reference first. So give some thought about who it is that's going to provide your strongest reference and enter that name first. And make sure you get their name right. I've seen spelling mistakes here. That's a little embarrassing, right? Okay. So this is also where you can send a little reminder. So you can see I have not accepted my invitation yet, tut tut. And I can send a little reminder to myself or to your referee to accept. Okay. What time is it? 2:50. So I've talked for almost an hour. Are there any questions about what you've seen here so far? Yeah. You don't have to include CEGEP, no. No, you have to include anything that allows us to calculate the 2 years of study. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and a current one to show you're registered. Yeah, yes?
On the application page, it says outline proposed research and something else.
Mm-hmm. Oh, here, the summary proposal? So this outline of proposed research there, the document type, this is the attachment. So this is actually your 2-page. So you have a 1-page proposal and 1 page for bibliography and citations. And this one's just a summary of what you're doing. It's a text box, I believe, but we'll go there and check it out. There we go. Yeah, so you've got the space here to do it.
And what do they expect from, like, we just repaste the
No. Let's see exactly what they're asking, actually. I'm pretty sure it's like background information of where you're at, but I want to check. So this is the instructions that I showed you. Application overview. There it is. Provide a summary of your project in a language that the public can understand. Plain language summary that is available to the public if your application is successful. That's right. So what it is they will use this, they can use this for media. So if you get the award, they'll use this because you assign a FOIPOP agreement that it can be used. So they can use this for media. Yeah, so yes, it is. Yeah, yeah. So if a reviewer is not in your discipline and he's coming in, he might read this first just to get a good outline of what you're doing. Yeah. Yeah, so this is a very interesting question. My assistant and I last summer, we actually went through and looked at the applications that were successful. And the applications that were successful, they used at least 3/4 of the page. At least 3/4 of the space you're given. Yeah. Yes, yes. Sorry? Yeah, you want to include, if your last year you did a thesis, so you want to include a current SFU one, and your last year you did an undergrad thesis, a master's thesis. Okay, then you definitely want to include that transcript, and I would include your undergrad as well. Yeah, yeah. So I think kind of before that, Douglas College, CJEP, anything kind of you don't need to include. Yes?
Does 1,500 characters include spaces?
I'm stumped. I'm never stumped. I don't know. I actually don't know that. Where did it go? Yeah, I think it actually counts down, right? No. I'm seeing no. Right? When I hit the space bar, it's not counting, so yeah. Yeah. Does anybody watch Suits? I love that show. I do. Yeah, it's a good show, right? Yeah, I can't talk to you. You're a Canucks trader. Canadians. Psh. Okay. All right, anything else you want to go back and look at? Yes?
We have a few people that are applying for the same project within SFU. Is that really bad?
Really? So you have one supervisor who's giving you projects and you're writing. All right, so here's my advice, is write the proposal yourself, right? So don't let the supervisor write that proposal for you. It has to be in your own words. It's fine because usually graduate students are working on a bit of a different thing within the project, right? So as long as you're working with a different thing inside the project, then you should be okay. Yeah. I don't want to see the same proposal uploaded 3 times for all of you, right? Your supervisor will actually get in trouble for that. Yeah. Yeah. Yes? Yeah, you? Did you have a question? I saw your hand. Okay. Anybody else? All right. Okay, let me have a quick look at the other questions that were submitted, and then I think, unless there's something you wanted to go back and look at, we're done. But I will be here to answer any questions that you want to ask. All right. So if you have any other questions, DGS Award is the best place to send it. Me and my team will answer. Your program assistant is also a really good person to contact for things. So that's our email address there, dgsawards@sfu.ca. If you want something to come directly to me, put, hi, Rachel, blah, blah, blah. Make sure you include your student number, because that kind of helps us process your request faster. All right, can I get a round of applause? Have to ask for it. Aw. Thank you very much.